Before Wall Street shaped modern finance, before Rome engineered imperial administration, and long before the world had the language to describe a global economy, one empire quietly discovered the true engine of power: money, measurement, and the architecture of financial control. And that empire was the Achaemenid Persia, whose leaders understood that real dominance comes not merely from armies or conquest, but from the invisible systems that organize value, trust, and governance across vast territories. And this is where our journey begins, exploring how Cyrus the Great, and later Darius the First, built a financial blueprint so influential that modern nations still follow its logic without even realizing it. Because when Cyrus conquered the Medes, the Lydians, and the Babylonians, uniting nearly 40% of the world's population under one banner, he inherited not just land, but a chaotic mosaic of local currencies, regional tribute systems, incompatible weights and measures, and conflicting economic traditions, each stable in its own region but impossible to coordinate across thousands of kilometers. And although Cyrus was a visionary strategist who respected cultural diversity, his empire's financial system strained under its own scale, as corruption spread, tribute vanished before reaching the capital, and governors operated like miniature kings, threatening the empire's unity. And that's when Darius I rose to power, a ruler who understood that the future of Persia wasn't secured by military victories, but by administrative discipline and financial clarity. So he reorganized the empire into standardized satrapies, with fixed tax quotas based on population and wealth, eliminating arbitrary tribute and creating the world's first large-scale bureaucratic tax system. And alongside taxes, he introduced something revolutionary: the gold Daric, a remarkably pure, standardized coin that acted as the empire's stable currency, accepted from Egypt to Anatolia to the Indus Valley, circulating alongside the silver siglos and becoming in essence the world's first reserve currency, so trusted that even Persia's enemies used it in trade, proving that the most powerful empire is the one whose money everyone else relies on. And yet currency alone wasn't enough, which is why Darius built the legendary Royal Road, a 2,700-kilometer highway with relay stations every few dozen kilometers, enabling couriers to cross the empire in days and allowing orders, taxes, bullion, and information to move with unprecedented speed, creating a communication network that wouldn't be matched again until the Industrial Age. And while the road connected the empire physically, the royal treasury connected it strategically, holding immense reserves of gold and silver that acted as crisis protection, military funding, infrastructure capital, and political leverage, proving that wealth is not merely luxury, but stored stability, a lesson modern nations still struggle to learn. Because even as Persia mastered incentives by rewarding loyal satraps, integrating temple economies, and stabilizing multicultural regions through financial alignment, later empires, from Greece to Rome to Byzantium, copied Persian systems with only minor modifications, showing how advanced the Achaemenid blueprint truly was. And when we compare this ancient structure to our world today, the parallels are unmistakable. Satrapies function like modern provinces or states. Standardized currency echoes the logic of today's reserve currencies. The royal road resembles modern trade routes and digital networks. And the treasury's reserves operate like sovereign wealth funds and foreign currency holdings. And although technology has evolved, the underlying logic of empire, measure, coordinate, stabilize, and prepare, has not changed. Because throughout history, it is financial mismanagement, not battlefield defeat, that destroys great powers, as seen with Rome's currency debasement, Spain's misused silver wealth, the Ottoman decline through corruption, and even the British Empire's exhaustion after financing global wars, all illustrating that the balance sheet collapses long before the borders do. And today we see similar patterns: governments carrying unsustainable debts, infrastructure aging faster than it is repaired, currencies pressured by inflation, and short-term political decisions replacing long-term financial discipline. While countries like China revive the Persian model with centralized planning, strategic reserves, global infrastructure projects, and currency management designed for multi-decade influence. And whether you admire or criticize that strategy, its roots are unmistakably Achaemenid, because ancient Persia revealed the truth that modern nations keep forgetting. You cannot project strength unless you can fund it, and even the mightiest system fails when leaders stop respecting the rules that made it strong, just as Persia eventually did when its later kings became disconnected from the empire's administrative machinery, allowing corruption to rise and satraps to act independently, weakening the structure until Alexander exploited its cracks, proving once again that empires fall from internal neglect, not external invasion. And the lesson for us today is clear. Financial clarity is power, discipline is stability, preparation is survival, and the empires, businesses, or individuals who ignore these principles eventually collapse under the weight of their own confusion, while those who master them endure, adapt, and thrive. And if this perspective reshaped how you see money, history, and power, make sure you stay with us for more insights like this. Subscribe for more.